everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Accommodation Show. This week I am joined by the wonderful Annette Densham. Annette, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, it's cool, Bart. I'm happy to be here talking about one of my favourite subjects in the whole wide world.
Yeah, look, we're going to be talking about business awards, and there's kind of two elements that really interest me that I think will add a lot of value to you if you are listening, be it in the car or watching us on one of the streaming platforms like YouTube. We're going to be talking about why to enter business awards, because we're so busy. We've got so many things going on in our lives and in our businesses. And the other thing we're going to talk about is how do we put together a submission which is more likely to win? And this is what you specialize in and know an awful lot about. But before we get going, I would love you to introduce yourself. Let our audience know who you are and what your background is, and why we've got you in the hot seat.
So I'm one of these really weird people who knew when they were really young what they wanted to do when they grew up. So when I was 10, it was like, I love writing, I love storytelling, I love talking to people, I loved asking questions. My mum used to call me Little Miss Sticky Beak because I always had to know what was going on. So I thought, wow, journalism is probably a really great career for me. So that's really what I did for most of my life. You know, I worked as a print journalist, you know, working for Fairfax and News Limited, writing stories about all types of things. And, you know, what do old journalists do when they get sick of the media? They go into corporate communications and PR. So I transitioned into corporate comms and PR. And then about 10 years ago, after a financial restructure, I found myself without a job. And one of my friends said, why don't you start your own business? Like, you know stuff about PR and you know stuff about awards. So I did. So here I am 10 years later, still writing, still telling stories, just adapted it slightly. So I have an agency called the Audacious Agency, and we specialise in business awards. Like, that's our jam. It's something that we just are so immersed in because there's just so many value for a business with business awards. But what we do really differently, or we like to think so, is that because of our backgrounds, you know, the strategy, the PR, the branding and marketing, which my business partner has, we've kind of melded that together and we create strategies for people around entering awards. Because what happens is a lot of people enter one and that's it. They don't actually ever tell anyone. So they may as well not have done it. So the reason I'm in the hot seat is because in this little head is so much information about business awards. You're going to pick my brain and I'm going to share it.
Brilliant. And I appreciate the little award that you've got in front of you, the International Business Awards. So for those of you that need a visual cue, that's on the YouTube, so make sure you watch us on there as well. But look, I think that the fascinating part about what you do is PR in general and business awards. It always seems to be catered towards a certain type of business or certain size of business. And if you don't really understand how it works or what it actually does for your business and the power of it and why these businesses are entering, then it can be completely unattainable. And you as a small business owner, like, oh, I'm never going to do that. I just don't have the time to do it. It's not worthwhile. And I remember when I did my first course with one of your colleagues, Jules Brooke, who was talking about doing PR yourself, that's when my mind kind of opened and said, hey, hold on, just with a little bit of education, a little bit of knowledge, I'll be able to achieve a lot more. And it's all about sort of mindset and how you set yourself up to do these sorts of things. So I think there's a huge amount of value in learning what we're going to be talking about, no matter what business size you are. And even if you're a bigger business, but you haven't been effective at entering awards, this is definitely an episode for you.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a really good point you make. I think when you're in small business or a specific type of industry like accommodation and tourism, it's easy to kind of look at this very narrow band of what you can do and what you can't do because you don't know what you don't know. So unless someone tells you that there are all of these opportunities out there. You're really just going to use what information you've got in your head, which a lot of the time is incorrect. Like, so many people say to me, oh, I'm not big enough, or I've not done enough, or there's nothing out there for me. And it's like, well, have you looked? And I was like, well, no, I just don't think it'll be worth my while. And it's like, well, come on, come with me. Let's explore this a little bit further. And people are amazed that they can enter an award even if they've only been in business 6 to 12 months. A lot of people think that you've got to be in business for a long time to enter an award, but there's so many startup categories and, you know, micro business and small business awards out there that enable people to put their foot in the door and get a taste of that exploration of where their business is at.
So let's start off with that. I think that I like that part, because that's already kind of given the answers to kind of the how. But let's do the why to start off with. Why? And I mean, this might seem obvious, but I think it isn't. I really don't think it is. I think you'll be able to answer it way better than anyone else as to why should we as business owners take time that we don't have. I don't have any time. No one has time for this. Why are we going to take that time and start to look at this part of our business?
Business awards fall under the marketing banner. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether you're in tourism, hospitality, PR, product, lawyer, real estate, your primary job is marketing. That's your number one job with whatever you're doing. Because if you're not marketing who and what you do and why you do it, nobody's going to know you exist. We kick this term around a lot. You're the best kept secret. And how do you make money and grow a business if you're constantly slogging trying to get people in the front door? Like, it's tiring, and you get overwhelmed and you get exhausted, because it's like, you just can't rely on word of mouth all the time. So entering business awards, finding the time to do that, is really about investing in your marketing, investing in your message, because, you know, we were talking about this before we hopped on and started recording. Perception is such a powerful tool that you can use as a business to speak to your prospective audience and say to them with one of these: we're trusted, we're respectable, we're credible. We've been before a panel of our peers who have gone inside and out of our business and has seen that what we're doing is making an impact. Like, it's something that you can't buy, that third-party credibility. And that's why PR and publicity is so important, and why awards are important, because it gives people that psychological goal, you know, that full stop where they go, oh, one, you're in people's vision because you're talking about it, you're sharing it. You know, you've said, yay, I've been nominated, or yes, we've made the finals, or yay, we've won. And people are sitting there mostly watching and following. You know, a journalist once said to me ages ago with radio advertising, is that really only 10% of people ever act on advertising or talk back. The rest of us are sitting there watching, just taking it all in. And so people are watching. So, you know, if you think about like something like the Oscars, you know, we all flock to go see an Oscar nominated movie. It hasn't even freaking won, but we're flocking to see it because subconsciously we're going, it has to be good because other people said it's good. It's like, it's really this mismatch of perception and manipulation. I mean, that's really what marketing it is, isn't it? It's understanding your target audience, sticking a message in front of them that they go, all right, I need to know more about these people.
Yeah. Look, so many questions kind of come from this, and from my perspective, like, I'm 100% into that why, and we entered some awards ourselves, and it's exactly what you said. We get the recognition by our peers, and that recognition for us is actually international. So there are people that know about iBooked.Online, that know about Bar, that know about the Accommodation show. I've never spoken to them in my life, but I hear about conversations that people have had that come back to me saying, "Oh yeah, I was talking to Joe over there, and he was talking about your awards," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even win the awards." The other thing that I find interesting, so there's two things that sort of really strike me here is that Seymour is confronting and scary. One of the things that you said was, I've been judged by my peers inside and out, right? And that, to me, the reality is, if people knew everything that I did, maybe I would still win awards, but there's also so many things I don't want them to see, if that makes sense. Things that you're like, well, those guys do it better. And we always have this, and I know this is a fallacy for most business owners, because we have a veneer of social media. So everything that I see of what everyone else is doing looks fantastic, but you don't see all the stuff that doesn't work and all the clients that they have annoyed in the past and that sort of thing. So the mindset of a business owner that feels like that they have to put this conversation down and say, you know what, it's not for me. We're not in a position to apply for awards. How would you tackle that?
Oh, I get this a lot. People make appointments with me to talk about it and then talk themselves out of it. And it's like, it's quite interesting to watch people go through this. Oh, I'm really interested. Oh my God, I've got to do stuff. I don't think that I will. I always tackle that by getting people to talk about what their end goal is. Like, well, what do you want to get out of this business? What do you need to go next level? And what are you currently doing that's not working effectively? Because if what you were doing now is working to the point where you go, I want to increase sales by 10% in the next 12 months, or, I want to have an 85% occupancy rate, or whatever that is for your business, then sometimes you just have to, I just say you got to suck it up and do the stuff that you don't want to do to get the result that you want. And nobody wants any extra jobs. Like, I'm sitting here looking at piles of paper of extra jobs I've got to do today and going, where am I going to fit it in? But it's going to benefit my business. And I think probably a lot of the time is because we're human beings and we're emotional creatures, is we let that fear and uncertainty take over when we should be making business decisions on what the outcome and return on investment will be. So I say to people, where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? And let's use this process to get there. And that's why I think it's really important. I know it's really important that when you do add awards or any other marketing activity to your marketing tool belt, that you do it strategically, you do it methodically, and you do it with purpose. Because if you're just entering because, it feels, like you just want to win a trophy, or it's about ego, then it is a hard process. But if you're doing it because you've had some great wins, then why not get a pat on the back? And I think we don't do that enough as human beings and as business people. Stop, reflect, and look at where we've been and where we're going and pat ourselves on the back. And that's the beauty of awards. Yeah. And it's worth it. Because not only do you win and you get that PR, but you also, like I just said, you get to reflect on the journey that your business has taken. And it's one of my most favourite things is when you've had a conversation with someone, you've asked them lots of questions, you send back their entry, and they're like, wow, is that really me? And it's like, I didn't just make it up in the bath last night. It's everything that you shared with me. It is you. And then when I didn't realise, I did one on Friday with a migration lawyer, and she was like, I haven't really done much. And by the end of the hour, I had this list. And I went, here's all the things you've accomplished in the last 2 years. And she was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm tired. And I was like, yes. It's just crazy. But taking that time to invest in that process gives you rewards that I think that, aren't in the brochure, but are certainly beneficial to business growth.
Yeah, let's talk about that and unpack that a little bit more, because that's one of the things that I find for our business, that this is actually twofold. So one, when we're doing Threefold. There's three uses that I have of this kind of stuff. So when I enter an award, it makes me have to reflect on the work that we've done over the past year, 2 years, 3 years, so the past few months, to kind of put that together. All of that data and that information, then I take and I send it out to my customers on our quarterly or yearly update and say, hey, these are all the awesome things that we've been doing, we've been working on. But then beyond that, we've actually received hundreds of thousands of dollars of grants. Because all of that data and all of that information that we're using for the awards is the same information that we want to give to apply for grants, because people want to know the answers to these particular questions. The bio about the business, what you've been up to, what your wins are, all of that kind of stuff. And then furthermore, for us, when we go to raise funding, we'll be using all of the same data points as well. So it's kind of keeping you in track and on pace. I think that the benefits of... So once you start this whole thing and you start putting it together, then it gets easier and easier to do, and you learn more and more about the business, and you actually find out that your business is a lot better than what you might think.
Yeah,
that makes
absolutely.
Sense.
Because when you're in the thick of things, which is why people say, I don't have time to do this, is when you're in the day-to-day minutiae of your business, you're answering emails, you're dealing with customer complaints, all of that stuff that we have to do, is it does seem too big. But once you've done it once, I say to people, if you only ever enter one award, then you have a document that you can continue to use. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Like you said, you've got your stats and your data and your financial information and your growth and your timeline and how you deal with customers, how you deal with challenges. And actually, but you said something before about, entering and not wanting the judges to see the things that haven't gone right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is there's really not many awards that says, how did you stuff up in the last 12 months? The questions are really around what have you done right, because that's what awards focus on. It's not that they don't care what's not gone right. It's just they're more interested in what have you put together over the last 12 months that has led you to where you are now. And another thing I think that stops people is they think that their achievements have to be, like I've changed the world, I've solved world hunger, or, like I've turned over $1 million, something really big. But the beautiful thing about so many awards is that the achievements that you will be bragging about can just be things like we grew by 10%, we increased our customer turnover, we implemented this into our business. And that really then comes down to what type of award that you've entered. But
great segue. I love it. So now we're going a little bit into the how, because I think the why we've got pretty much covered. And I think we could go really into depth as to each business would have their own whys as to why they're going to enter. And I really love the fact that it's twofold. One, it's all the marketing stuff, but I don't want people to ignore the fact that it's a amazing thing to do as a business person. It's giving you the reality of how you're tracking and how well you're doing. Now, if we move through to the how, you already started to mention it. I assume that one of the first things you would do is kind of look at what's out there, what kind of awards are going on. Tell me about that process.
I would take it back a step.
Yeah,
and I would focus on what my goals are for the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Because then that will help you drill down and find the right award. So let's just say your goal in the next 12 months is to, grow your team, increase your bottom line by a certain percentage, and get more people inquiring into whatever it is that you do. So looking at that, you go, okay, well, what would make those people feel safe and cared for and protected by a business entering a certain award? So that cuts out a lot of those vanity awards. There's a few out there that you get this random email that says, dear Bart, we want to include you in this. And you're going, you've never even met me. You don't know who I am. How can I have won an award? So you've got to be careful with those. Then you can start looking at what awards that you want to enter. So if yours is all about, I want to get more customers, then maybe you're looking at a customer service award. If you want to brag about your growth, then maybe you would enter a general business award, which focuses on growth or focuses on, those steps that you've taken to get your business to that point. Or if it's about your product, then, we really want to get more awareness around what we're doing. We've got this beautiful, restaurant, or we've got this beautiful, accommodation in the heart of Sydney. Nobody knows about it. Let's enter an award for the design or for, the marketing that you've done. Although if you're doing marketing, you'd have people in there. So let's not do your marketing on that one that doesn't have high occupancy. But you get my drift, don't you?
100%.
You just break down your goals into, this is what I want to achieve, and then go, okay, that's to do with customer service, that's to do with business, that's to do with tourism, that's to do, and then let your fingers do the walking, because they're all on Google. And that's really how I got started 10 years ago, when I went, oh, I'm just another little old PR agency run by one person. There's all of these much better people out there than me. What can I do to stand out? What aren't they doing?
Mm-hmm.
They're not entering awards. I'm going to enter awards. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to showcase that my business has value compared to people who are bigger, better, and been around longer than I have. So I just started Googling PR awards, business awards, and started building this list. Sadly, there's really nothing online for a calendar that you can create. I am working on that.
with all the different awards and their categories, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, because and that's one of the things that stops people really is finding these awards. Because, like before we started talking, I typed in hospitality industry awards, and it came up with how much I should be paying someone who works for me. So I was like, you've really got to go down that rabbit hole. So then I went Hospitality Industry Business Awards. Okay, there's more coming up then. And just on the front page of Google, there was 3 awards that I went, they would be perfect. There's one open right now called the HM Awards.
Yes.
Yes. People could be entering.
Which I do know about it as well. So you're absolutely right. And one of the other top tips that someone gave me was to set up alerts based on those particular awards, and then on Google Alerts, so you're kind of getting news articles and you're getting more information about these sorts of awards, so you can keep them in. And then when you see one, put it in a spreadsheet, put it in your diary, so that you remember it, so that next year you're constantly keeping on top of what awards are coming up and what the categories are. And then even if it's not this year, you can kind of start to think about, like you said, what your goals are, and say, that's a category I should apply for, I should be able to take out, but it might be next year, so I can get everything in place and ready.
And that's a really good point. You'll see me starting to bang on about it towards the end of the year. Now's the time to prepare for 2023 for awards, to create your calendar, to get your house in order. Do you need to, go through all of your social media and start collating all of your stats? Do you need to do your tax? Do you need to look at your systems and processes? Do you need to write some case studies? Start collating that information and putting it in a Google folder or some type of folder on your computer, so that when an award comes up that you want to enter, it's not such an onerous task. Because quite frankly, I think that's what puts people off, is they leave it to the last minute.
Yeah.
And then it's all a big, oh my God, I've got to get this done. And it's never the best effort that you can make. So, it's that beautiful saying, prior planning prevents poor performance.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I haven't heard that one for a little while, but it always rings true. Cool. So if we keep on breaking down the how, so we're kind of establishing our why, so therefore also target audience, who do we want to be this award to be in front of, who do we want to see it? Is it about our peers? Is it about recognition? All those things about the whys before, so we're kind of figuring out the goal. Then we're going out and we're doing our research for the particular awards. So which ones are we going to apply for? All right, cool. We found our categories. We know what we're going to do. All right, cool. Now what? Now I'm in trouble because I've got to do the work on the actual application itself, right? And how do I win it? How do I win the award?
Oh, you win it by the things that you've just done, by planning, by taking note of the questions, transferring them into a Google Doc and talking the question out loud. So, what are your achievements and accomplishments for the last 12 months? It's like a pretty simple question, but it may surprise you. Yeah. Sometimes it surprises me how many people don't answer the question. So get to know the questions and start making notes, just dot points, so that then you can start getting your thoughts together and looking at what is really going to be impactful for the judges. Most awards are looking for data. So if you make a claim and say, my business grew 15% in, financial year 2021, 2022, full stop, move on. Anybody could say that. Mm-hmm. Prove it. So if you really want to win, every time you make a statement, prove it. I grew my business by 15% by investing in marketing. I worked with a PR specialist over 12 months, and during that time, I had 1 million impressions and 17 million views, and then document how that folded out. Yeah. We increased our occupancy by 50%. How did you do it? Yeah. So whenever you say something, ask the question, but how did you do it? Why is that important? Because that's what the judges are looking for. They don't want to read it and go, sounds like everybody else. And another really effective tool is storytelling. So, judges are people too. And, when they're sitting there reading lots and lots of awards, submissions, is make it engaging, make it interesting, put some personality and warmth in there. It doesn't have to read like a university academic paper. By all means, be formal and, be respectful, but insert something in there so the judge gets to the end of that submission and feels like they know you. Because even though judges have got criteria that they're working to, that also human beings, it's funny, there's a theme here, and they have unconscious bias and they have unconscious competence and they have all of those things going on in their head where they will look at an award, it meets all the criteria, and if it's the choice between two, and one of those submissions is one that was engaging and interesting, answered the questions, then they're going to pick that one because you've inserted yourself into their head. Another really important way to win an award is a lot of awards will have support document optional. Now we say there's no such thing as optional. You must do it, because most awards are, anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 words. And for some people going, oh my God, that's so much. But it's really not a lot to succinctly capture your business growth over 12 months. You can really only do the high points. So if you create these support documents that are very visual, so if you're talking about your financial growth, put a graph in there of your financial growth over the last 5 years, so the judge can look at that and go, this is a business that's doing well. Everything that they said in their submission is backed up in their support document. Tick.
Yeah. I love it. Look, there's a couple of things. One is I'm conscious of the fact that we're rapidly running down the clock in terms of time that we have together today. And I do like to keep these episodes a little bit shorter so that, I guess, leave people wanting a little bit, try to find out a little bit more information and do a bit of research. We know who to contact, right? Look, that's right. So look, the purpose of the Accommodation Show and the purpose of doing these episodes is to try to get people to start thinking about these different things and to get them enlightened and or enlightened about these topics and from knowledgeable people like yourself. I think that there is a lot more that we can explore in terms of how to actually win an award and the different steps that you can take. But I think we're going to run out of time today to go through that in depth. But maybe we can do another episode or a get together, and we can help people out with that. We should do a workshop and get everyone in a room together.
I would love that. That would be awesome, that we can just start laying the foundations to enter awards,
Yeah.
to make a calendar and then look at what do we need to do, and start brain dumping those key points. Yeah, let's do that.
We'll get all the same people from the same industry together, and then they'll all be in competition with each other for the same awards.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's so many out there, Bart, that I can help people have that spread. So, and I think the thing with when you have industry-specific awards, as I've found with the hospitality and tourism industry, it's a bit incestuous. And sometimes it seems like the same people win over and over again. Don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
So I always say to people, enter something like the Australian Small Business Champion Awards. It has a tourism and hospitality category. It is a national award. It's got a great reputation. And for most punters, they don't know who the Stevie Awards are. They probably have only ever heard of the Telstra Awards. But what they do know is when they see that little emblem, or they see your trophy, or they see you on social media and see that you're in it, then they want to work with people who are winners. That's why the influencer market is so rife, because people want to be around people who are doing stuff and winning and putting themselves out there.
Yep.
So as long as the award is respectable and credible, we can talk about that at the workshop.
Beautiful. Look, I'm going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much for taking your time. What's the best way for people to reach out to you and to kind of follow up if they did have more questions?
Yeah, cool. If they go to the audaciousagency.com, there is a little box there that people can book 20 minutes with me to have a chat. And they can go, this is what I'm doing. And I can go, you could do this, this, and this. Really happy to point people in the right direction. Yeah. There's also a lot of resources on our website. We've got a free awards program, 7-part series going from how to find the right awards to how to leverage your awards.
Oh, cool.
So there's recordings and they're free, and there's a heap of resources in there.
So you don't need to do a workshop. It's all already available online, right?
Yeah, but you don't have me then. Well, you do, but it's a recording from years ago. Yeah. I look totally different, and I'm way smarter now. And also following us on Facebook for the Audacious Agency. Every day I'm posting an award that's open, that people could build a calendar just from the posts that we do. We give a lot of information away. So that's the best way to contact me.
Fantastic. And a lot of our audience are international and worldwide, and you can pretty much work with anyone anywhere in the world, I take it.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. We just won 2 gold Stevie Great Employer Awards for a hospital in Saudi Arabia.
There you go.
So,
it doesn't matter where you are. Yeah, and if you do get in touch, make sure you do mention that you've come off of the Accommodation show, which will stand you in good stead going forward from there. Look, thank you so much once again for your time. I really wish we could do this for a couple of hours, but there will be room for that in the future. You're wonderful. It's really made me think more about the awards. Actually, I think the biggest tip for me was get ready for next year's awards. Get things, have that list ready so I know exactly what we're going to do and we plan it correctly so that it's a lot less work next year actually going through and applying for them.
Sounds like a cunning plan.
Beautiful. Have a good day.